guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Ito na, we are hearing it straight from the IRCC. Meron po tayong update sa paparating na overhaul ng Express Entry. Napag-usapan na po natin a while back yung proposed reforms sa Express Entry with our suke, immigration lawyer attorney Lou Dangzalan. Ilalagay ko na lang po yung link ng episode na yan sa comment section. Ipipin ko yung comment sakaling gusto niyo pong balikan. Again, proposed reforms lang po, no? Yung napag-usapan doon, we really will not know what it will be until magkaroon na ng implementation. Diba? Hindi natin alam kung eksakto bang masusunod yung proposal na yan o hindi. Alright? Okay, now, I will share with you a soundbite from Deputy Minister ng IRCC, si Mr. Ted Gallivan. He spoke at a conference with immigration consultants more than a week ago. Doon niya po sinabi na ito na nga, makikita na raw po ang phase 1 ng reforms this year, later this year, 2026. And it's, I guess, earlier than what many immigration practitioners thought. Akala nila mga at least a year, 2 years. Pero hindi, no? It's just been several months since consultations were done about these proposed reforms. And ito na nga. Okay, mukhang makikita na natin ang unang bahagi ng reforms in just a few months. Okay, so let me play for you this soundbite. It's less than 2 minutes. Kinat ko po ito. So, i-play ko ng buo, guys. Okay? Mr. Ted Gallivan.
I will now turn to Express Entry, reserving the right to give some general messages during some other questions. The thought one was, 3 programs into one. It seems very complicated. Like, I'm a certified internal auditor. I worked at the tax department. I find the immigration regime complicated. And so if there are opportunities, it's a great idea. And so trying to simplify and move from 3 programs to 1 is definitely an explicit mandate. My team briefs me. I haven't read all 12,000 or 13,000 submissions personally, but the team's briefing me on the summaries. And, the general sense is there is consensus around the areas of reform. And so if you want some foreshadowing as to what's to come, look to some of the key submissions from authoritative groups, because it seems like there's a pretty good consensus. I would expect a phase 1 this calendar year. And, as I'm trying to shift the culture at IRCC, there are IRCC people in the room who are now panicking because I've just made a public announcement around a deadline. I consider that accountability, and now they have to do it. But we very much see a phased approach because some of the changes are tied to a regulatory process. Some changes are tied to IT processes. And again, that's not an excuse. We'll try to push our CAO and the team to work quickly. But, again, to directly answer your question, look to your own submissions, look to the authoritative submissions. The sense we have is that there's a good consensus, and we're going to try to do it in waves, and the things that are not strictly bound by regulation, which have their own timeline, and IT changes, which have a bit of IT risk if you do too quickly. And I would look for the first round in the fall.
O, ayun. The first round in the fall. Anong buwan ba yan? September, October, November? Okay, again, that is Mr. Ted Gallivan from IRCC. What is clear, Nag-notes na naman ako. Ano tawag dito? Ang sure na mangyayari, okay, but I'm not saying this will be part of phase 1, is yung 3 streams under Express Entry talagang magiging isa na lang daw. Pag-usapan natin yan ni Attorney Luno. Sabi niya, yung quote niya, it's an explicit mandate. So at least that one, we are sure the 3 streams will turn into just 1 to simplify the process now. Another one that is clear, ayun na nga, phase 1 this fall. And the changes will be phased approach, sabi nga niya, obviously, in phases, in waves, nagamit din niya yung term na yun. At mukhang mauuna yung mga pagbabago that are not bound by regulations. Okay, siguro mas matagal na proseso po kasi, kung kailangan pang baguhin ang government regulations about this immigration program. Okay, in a while, papakita ko po sa inyo, ano kaya itong mga maaaring mangyari sa phase 1. Okay, alam niyo po, nakakuha ako ng kopya nung PDF file ng presentation ng IRCC tungkol dito po sa mga proposal niya. I will share with you a page which I think refers to what could be part of Phase 1. Yung sinasabing hindi po kakailanganin ng changes sa regulation. Okay? I will show you this page. Okay? Ay, tatanggalin ko nga ulit yung headline natin. Ano? Okay. Nakikita niyo yung part 1, merge express entries 3 federal programs into a single program. May parenthesis doon, ano? That could be done only via regulatory amendments. Yan yung sinasabi niya na baka mas matagal gawin, kaya hindi pa siguro natin makikita tong merging into one program. Yung number 2, yan ang sa palagay ko, no, hula natin, ang maaring maunang mangyari. Okay? Kasi, pakikita nyo yung number 2. Simplify the comprehensive ranking system, okay, to align with evidence on economic outcomes. So, siguro, may i-announce po, okay, na changes dun sa scoring system. Kasi, nakasulat sa parenthesis, yan ay pwedeng gawin by amending lamang yung ministerial instructions. Pag sinabing i-amend yung ministerial instructions, that could easily just be issued by the department itself. Okay? O sige, balikan natin. So, ano kaya yung pwedeng mabago? Yan. So, number 2 po tayo, ha. Remove or refine certain bonus points. Okay, tatanggalan ng points. Remove spousal points. Reward job offers or Canadian work experience in high-wage occupations. At yung pang-apat na nakasulat dito, strengthen recognition of Canadian licensure para daw ma-prioritize ang pagpili ng skilled tradespersons and regulated professionals who are, kumbaga, deemed practice ready. Nakita na ninyo, no? Again, I am not saying na for sure yan, ha? Pero kung babasahin nyo lang, yun kasi yung pwedeng gawin lang through ministerial issuances. What do you guys think about those proposed reforms? Okay, para po sa IRCC, according to the presentation, yung PowerPoint pala, presentation. The upcoming system will attract workers na merong mataas na tsansa na mag-contribute ng mas malaki sa ekonomiya ng Canada. Kaya nila i-reward yung mga matataas ang sweldo, yung may mga job offer na mataas ang sweldo. I-incentivize yun. Alright? Ang isa po sa nakikitang tatanggalin, balikan ko lang din, yung pagkakaroon ng study dito sa Canada. Kung ikaw ay nakapagtapos ng isang kurso dito sa Canada, maaari daw pong tanggalin yan. Now, which brings me to this other page of the presentation that I want to share with you guys. Okay. Tignan nyo na lang po yung graph sa bandang kanan. Okay? Nakasulat po yan, yung darker shade ng blue, for the upcoming changes, yan yung kumbaga magiging stronger predictors sa kung sino ang kumbaga papaboran nung bagong system. Nakita nyo yung dark blue na dalawa sa taas? Temporary residence earnings in Canada. And number 2, official language. Yung bandang baba naman po, yung lighter shade ng blue. Nakita nyo may bracket, nakasulat dyan, potential removal or adjustments. Again potential removal or adjustments. We do not know whether remove yan or i-adjust lang or modify. So yung 4 na light blue ang nakasulat, French proficiency. Tapos, studying in Canada, yan kakasabi ko lang sa inyo. Pwede rin daw tanggalin o baguhin ang points for having a sibling in Canada. At yung pinakaibaba, pwede rin baguhin o i-adjust ang points na ibibigay. Pwede rin tanggalin, rather, o i-adjust yung points na ibibigay sa spousal attributes kung meron kang partner dito sa Canada. So that is a glimpse of what could happen, okay, sa express entry. Again, batay po ito, yung pages na sinend ko po sa inyo, galing po yan sa presentation ng IRCC mismo. Proposals pa lang po yan. Okay? Now, I have another soundbite to play for you. Hindi related dito sa express entry, but I thought you guys might want an update on it. Remember, si Mr. Ted Gallivan din po ang nagsalita tungkol dun sa kung paano magpo-focus na rin ang IRCC sa pag-track ng mga overstaying residents. Okay? Ita-track nila at magkakaroon na raw ng sistema para makipag-communicate doon sa malapit ng mag-expire ang kanilang status. Okay? To check on them at magparamdam, no, na kung kayo ay mukhang hindi na makaka-extend, reminder, you have to go. Yan po ang statement ng IRCC ni Mr. Ted Gallivan before. He said a while back na dapat sa buwan ng Mayo, okay, June na po ngayon, magkakaroon na raw po sila ng indicator sa kanilang sistema sa kung sino, halimbawa, ang mga international students, siguro hindi makakuha ng PGWP, or siguro hindi na nakahanap ng PR pathway eventually, hindi naka-transition into a different permit. For example, no, magkakaroon na raw sila ng indicator sa system nila to identify these people, and then they will start communicating with them or tracking them down to, in a way, make them feel na binabantayan namin kayo. Ganyan. Hindi po ito removal order, hindi po ito deportation, wala po sa ganun. Okay? Siguro kung talagang hindi umalis, then ang sabi po ng IRCC dyan, then they will pass a list of names to the CBSA to take appropriate action. Okay? Pero sa bahagi ng IRCC, in the same conference kung saan nagsalita po si Ted Gallivan, meron siyang update. Sabi niya, they are currently drafting letters that will be sent to these people who are facing expiring permits or visas. Okay, so I will play that for you.
System. In managing the departure of people whose visas are coming to an end, we haven't started releasing those letters yet because it's really important to me personally that we get the tone right. I think I've seen about 3 versions of that letter. You know, these are vulnerable people. These are people who come from countries where perhaps the government is committing the kinds of things and doing the kinds of things that drove them to Canada and made them asylum seekers. And so you know, we are going to start to ask people, we're going to start to talk to people before their visa expires, making sure they're clear on the rules around the time of their departure. We want to have an active discussion around, you know, your visa has expired. And I think how we frame those and kind of the sensitivity, and I think the care around the wording, and to think about that letter from the perspective of the person who's getting the letter, not just our message, but how are they going to react to that is really important. And so,
Yun, nakita niyo, no? Talagang pinag-aaralan daw nila ng husto yung pag-draft ng letter. Kasi nga naman, it's a sensitive situation. And it sounds like talagang ang mauuna po, no? Doon sa first part ng soundbite niya, yung mga failed asylum claimants, no? Na-reject yung mga claims nila to become a refugee. Okay, so nakita nyo, mabait talaga ang Canada, no? They are, of course, very careful sa wording ng mga sulat na ito, okay, na ipapadala nila, taking into consideration the vulnerable situation of some of these people, or of many of these people. Okay, so ayun lang naman, I just wanted to update you with this. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, I'll end this episode here. See you guys in the next one. Bye!